This is our league, and this is your league. Broadcasting from the 55-yard line in Japan to the shores of the Great White North and everywhere around the world on Gridiron America Radio and the Sports History Network.
And welcome back, everybody, to Gridiron America today on a hot and muggy as F. I think it's what? I don't even know what date it is anymore, but it's Tuesday morning here in Japan, so it's Monday morning there in the States. And it's 10 a.m. It's what? A little after 10 a.m. here, and it's already 91 degrees. Mike and Dave, how's the weather by you guys?
Lots of rain and lots of mugginess here, but that's Central Florida. It's that time of the year, so hopefully the rain goes away. It's been nice. It hasn't been as hot, but again, when it's this muggy, it's that time of the year, man.
Dave,
it is summer has arrived. It's 20 after 9, and it's 80 degrees here, and high of 97 tomorrow. So.
Ooh. Well, here's the silver lining in all that. It beats the hell out of shoveling snow.
No,
I respectfully disagree. But then again, where you live at, I can understand. I can definitely sympathize where you're situated at Lakewise. Yeah. So
I like the snow, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. But yeah, where you have a being there next to Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. I mean, that's a brutal place to be for. I lived in Chicago, so the lake was actually on the other side. So, I mean, lake effect snow, yeah, we'd get it occasionally, but not like you get it in bunches and bunches and bunches. So, yes. All right. Well, talking about the Great Lakes and everything, let's talk about the CFL and the teams near the Great Lakes and the teams away from the Great Lakes. Mike and Dave, it was week 6 here in the CFL, and the cream is starting to rise to the top, and it's starting to really, really show. Now, obviously, we had one team on a bye week, so we'll wait to see what happens there for this coming week. But, we've got – I figure we'll start off just going over the standings right now. So we got Montreal leading at 4-1 in the East, Toronto and Hamilton 2-3, and then Ottawa's pretty much out of it at this point at 0-5. And then over in the West, we got the Riders, the Elks at 4-1, and then Winnipeg and Calgary at Winnipeg's at 3-2, Calgary's at 2-3, and then BC's at 1-3. I hate how they do the standings over at CFL.ca. Games played, give me the wins, losses first, and then somewhere down, put games played. To me, it makes no sense. But then again, the X League does the same damn thing, and it's even more complicated.
It's like soccer. When you look at it, it's like, wait, what? Your math ain't mathing for a second. Yep. Yeah.
But the CFL, at least, anybody who follows the X League, and we will be talking X League as we get into autumn. Their win-loss standings and everything's a effing mess, but very typical Japanese too. They tend to make I don't know how I want to say this. They make simple shit hard. So anyway, on that note,
but in all honesty, with the standings, it should be points first.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just as a general, I'm like, okay, my team's got so many points. Okay, how many points? I mean, I have to sit there and do the math. Win-loss, the math's already done for me. So that's just me. That's just my old man opinion. So, all right, well, let's let's get started here. We had basically, I'm going to call it as it is. We had 2 dog shit games, and then we had one close game and another kind of close game. So, All right, I'm going to let either one of you guys lead off here, Dave or Mike. I know Mike took notes, so maybe we should let him lead off or Dave lead off. It's up to you. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I'll. If Dave, you want, I'll start. Let's see, which one are we going to talk about? Let's talk about the Saskatchewan game. It was, as Greg said, it was a dog shit game, but Saskatchewan, they had 20 points scored off of turnovers. The score in that one was 38-7. I mean, Saskatchewan, they're still running the ball effective in this game. Tommy Stevens, their quarterback, he had 2 rushing touchdowns. So I like what they're doing with him. Trevor Harris, he did okay. He had 2 touchdowns, but he threw 2 interceptions. And then for Hamilton, I put it in caps. The Bo effect is real, or the no Bo effect is real in this case. So they're definitely hurting. Jake Delgado, 17 of 30 for 122 and a touchdown, an interception, excuse me. And then running the ball, their top leader only had 33 yards. So Saskatchewan, even without the 20 points scored on defense, they were still the better team versus Hamilton. So, Dave?
Yeah, you're exactly right. They're missing they're missing Bully Van Mitchell, and right now they don't have an answer. They don't. It looks like they're looking for more quarterbacks. They're going to try and bring in more this upcoming week, but it's hard because they don't have a bye week for a few weeks, so they're going to have to try and ride out this storm, and it's going to be hard because they don't have an effective running game. Like they don't have a running game like Edmonton or somebody like that can, give some space, give some time. But right now they don't. No one trusts Roundtree, so they're not going to really worry about that and just sit back and play defense. And it showed. Like you had one of the best teams playing one of the worst teams, at least right now. But
I agree. I mean, and when Hamilton started their season, I mean, this is a completely different team than the team that started just a little over a month ago. So, I mean, just from my perspective, I'm thinking, into October here, I can't envision Hamilton at the rate they're going now. And again, it's early, but still, I can't even see them making the playoffs right now.
They're 2-3 right now. So, like you said, Dave, the schedule's not going to get any easier, not having a bye week. I'm really curious, just from a league-wide perspective. We've seen it a few years ago with guys from the USFL. I'm really surprised that nobody's given a phone call to any of the UFL quarterbacks that aren't invited to OTA to go up north and at least, give them a workout and see, how they fare versus the current squad. But maybe that's a case for another day.
I'm curious if their agents are telling them to hold off for NFL calls. That's my only thinking. I mean, there's only the 20 of them, so I mean, I'm curious if they're just waiting to hear that shake out with training camps. With training camps opening up pretty soon, there's probably a good chance they can get latch on there. Not saying the CFL is not a good option, but
right.
I can see where they want to wait it out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, there is always the Phillip Rivers option, or maybe the Joe Flacco option.
Mr. AFC North himself.
Yep.
Only team left is Pittsburgh.
Just a thought, or even maybe a Don Strock option. Who knows? I mean, I mean, I've seen, Don Strock came off. What was it? Played for the Cleveland Browns, and they literally hadn't played in years, and he came out and won a game for him. So I mean, that was way back in the early 80s, but you never know. Never know. So, all right, guys. Well, next game after that, which game you want to pick to talk about next?
You want to talk about the Calgary-Montreal game?
Yeah.
So,
game of the weekend.
I don't know. The score, I think, was closer than the game really was throughout. Yes, it was 37-30, Montreal beating Calgary, but at one point in the third quarter, Montreal had a pretty commanding lead over Calgary. What I put down for Calgary, it was too much, too late. They were playing catch up. Offensively, I think Vernon Adams, he had a great game. He had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. They only ran their top leader, Derek Mills, only had 55 yards. So you really got to find that competitive balance in close games, or in games like that, rather. Brissett, he had 2 catches for 86 yards. So again, the Calgary offense, when they were on the field, they were good, but the Montreal offense was better. It seemed like when crunch time came, Calgary couldn't stop them. Davis Alexander, he was pretty solid at 301 yards and a touchdown. And then Tyler Snead, they brought in for a trick play for a 7-yard touchdown pass. And then Tyson Philpott, he had a great game, 132 yards off of 9 catches and a touchdown. But again, the defense for Montreal, they stood tall when it mattered. Even though Calgary, they were pretty consistent passing the ball. When you're one-dimensional, it makes it hard to find success in this league.
Yeah.
Once again, I agree 100%. Calgary just couldn't get the ball going on the ground, and just couldn't. It just seems like they forced the issue a little too much, because it just seems like Montreal had all the answers. And I mean, if you look at Montreal's game, there's never a flawless game, but their offense was clicking, their defense played well, special teams. I mean, the only thing I was surprised in, I didn't realize this till after the game, was more looking at the stats afterwards. Montreal was 35% on second down efficiency. That was, I was surprised. It didn't seem like it was that low. It seems like to me they had more drives than that. But I guess when you're clicking, when you're getting some chunk plays, you're not really looking. You're not having a 10 first down drive too often. But Montreal looks like they're the best in the East, and Calgary is going to be there. It'll be interesting to see from the West when this all shakes out.
Oh yeah. I mean, the West is going to be a battle, I think, right down to the wire.
Yeah,
because I can't see Edmonton. I can't see Edmonton or the Riders sustaining where they're at now. There's going to be a period in there where I think they might go into a slump. But I agree.
And the way if Hamilton doesn't figure it out, and it doesn't look like Ottawa is going to figure it out anytime soon, you're going to have Winnipeg and Calgary fighting it out for that crossover game at the end of the season. So it's going to be wild. These games are all going to be important when it comes down to it, because you could see one of those two. I don't see Saskatchewan and Edmonton falling out of 1 and 2. I think that's just going to be a fight between those two teams. But Winnipeg and Calgary, that's going to see who gets third and who has to travel, and for the whole playoffs, I guess.
Yeah. Mike
said it best. So we'll see what happens. I'm definitely looking forward to the next coming weeks, and we'll see. Like I said, we'll see what happens. But Calgary they got to find the balance, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Then moving on, we got the Winnipeg-Toronto game.
So real quick, Mike, watching that,
ahead.
I got a question for Mike then. Watching that, obviously Calgary had an unbelievable game the week before when they shellacked Toronto. Watching Calgary this past week, not so much, obviously, they were going to score 58 points every single week, but watching that game, what did you see Calgary do differently, or thoughts on that, on their offense? It seemed like the week before everything was clicking, and then really they were missing nobody from last week, and it just seemed, and granted, Montreal has a better defense than Toronto, no doubt about that, but it just seems like they weren't clicking like they were the week before.
I would say execution coming out flat. You dig yourself a hole early, and then you have to throw the ball. And then, then you become one-dimensional. When you try and run the ball, you're not having any luck with it. But it really starts, from the first drive of the game. That sets the tempo for the rest of the game in a lot of instances. And I don't think this game was any exception. They need to play consistently for 4 quarters and not play catch up.
Yep. So, all right. So, like I said, moving on, Winnipeg and Toronto.
So, I actually like this game. Even it was a 9-point game, but to me, I found this to be the most entertaining game. Winnipeg beat Toronto 30-21. Drew Brown, he was almost perfect. 25-31 for 339 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. A big play that toward the end of the game was Trey Valali. Pardon the mispronunciation. He had a huge punt return for a touchdown. I would say Winnipeg played their best in the first and the fourth quarter, even though they did have 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles and an interception. And then for Toronto, Chad Kelly, he didn't have any interceptions. He threw for 320 and 2 touchdowns. I found this interesting. So Sam Hicks, he had 30 yards for the whole game and a touchdown. Of the 30 yards, his long was 26. So the rest, he had 4. Aside from the 26-yard long, he had 4 carries for 4 yards. So very, very ineffective there. Malachi Hulk, he had 125 yards and a touchdown. But with the Toronto defense, they could not stop Winnipeg on 2nd down when it mattered the most.
Yeah. And Chad Kelly, thoughts? I mean, he's leading the league in passing right now, but his performance in this game, what do you think?
I think it's like Vernon Adams in Calgary. Like, you're putting up great numbers, but collectively, it's a group effort. Whether you're, including your running back and screen passes or something, you got to get something else clicking because it's the same. It's the same thing with Calgary as it is with Toronto this week. One-dimensional.
Right. Yeah. And do you guys think? I mean, do you think Toronto has a chance of topping Montreal? I mean, because right now, let's face it, those are the top 2 teams in the East. But after watching this game, and it was a home game for the Argos. It was even weird seeing how they dressed up the stadium to reflect that. I'm like, oh, that's right. It's a home game. I think something looks different here. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I can't see. I don't know. Right now, I'm having a tough time just imagining Toronto even competing for the top spot with the way Montreal has been clicking and just the way, I don't know, to me, Toronto is just a one-dimensional team.
I think Montreal's 4-1 and Toronto's 2-3. I would say right now the 2 best teams, in my opinion, is Edmonton and Montreal.
100%. Well, it's going to be just like every year, war of attrition. Davis Alexander only played 8 games last year, so he hasn't played a full season yet. So, knock on wood, I have Kelly and Alexander on my fantasy team, but you don't want, in Montreal's case, if Davis Alexander goes down, it's going to be an issue along the lines with Hamilton. So it'll be really interesting to see. So one of the things is, and no quarterback's going to play that. I just don't see. I mean, Jake Mayer played the whole season a couple of years ago for BC. You just don't see
nobody plays a full season in the CFL. I mean, I you know what? The one person who I thought was going to play a whole season was the first guy to get hurt. That's how just unpredictable it is.
Yeah.
Unless you're Anthony Calvillo, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think is he like the quarterback's coach in Montreal? I think
it's the OC.
OC, okay. Okay, it could be.
Yeah.
One of those 2, but yeah.
Suit him up. But no, it's anything. No, I mean, Winnipeg has 2 starting quarterbacks. There's not a lot of teams that have 2 starting quarterbacks. And they lucked out. They lucked out getting Drew Brown before Caleros got hurt. So it's
yeah.
I mean, it's
well, and that's always puzzled me with football in general, and not just the CFL, but also the NFL. I mean, you have to have 2. I mean, back in the old days, and Dave, help me out here, but back in the old days, in the NFL, we'll just use the NFL as the example. You usually had every team had 2 quality starting, a backup who could start if needed to. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, you had Dallas. In Dallas, you had Danny White and Craig Morton. In Miami, obviously, you had Earl Morrall and then Bob Greasy and Earl Morrall, and then Bob Greasy and Don Strock, and then there are other teams too. Even in Pittsburgh, you had Terry Henratty, backed up Terry Bradshaw. But nowadays, it just seems to me teams not only in the CFL but the NFL don't take out an insurance policy like they should. Just my thought.
Yep, it's a lot of it's due with the cap, and a lot of it do with is it's tough when you're paying $500,000, $600,000 for a starting quarterback. When your cap is $6.5 million, it's hard to justify another $200,000 on a quality backup who may play if and when someone gets hurt.
Yeah.
So that's why I see a lot of CFL teams either getting super young guys and getting some reps, and hopefully they hit pay dirt with them, or gut it out and hopefully the starter's not out too long. So
yeah.
I mean, there's always been questions around why Hamilton signed Trey Ford. Nothing to do about him personally, but with the style of offense they play with Bolivia Mitchell. I mean, it seems like they were better opportunities. But if I'm Trey Ford and I'm looking at a older quarterback who probably gonna be retiring soon, it's not a bad situation. Just not a great one right now.
Right.
But
well, I have a feeling Kyler Murray will be available next year. So, because I can't see him panning out in Minnesota. But then again, I'm biased for the years of abuse he gave me in Arizona.
I mean, without going off on the Arizona Cardinal tangent, he didn't really have the best of quarterbacks or coordinators while he was there.
No, but
Or ownership.
I mean, well, yeah, the ownership, that's a whole episode unto itself. But it goes to me and Kyler, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but I still have very bad memories of him chucking the ball in the end zone against the Rams during that lone playoff game he played. That symbolized it all. So, but yeah, no, I mean, there are quality, kind of goes back. I can't remember. Yeah, it was before we came out. We were talking about the UFL and the quarterbacks that are just kind of sitting there now. But like Dave, you said, a lot of these guys are just waiting on a call from the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're available quarterbacks. It's just a matter of, I don't know, I guess making the right offer.
Well, it's also, we're in a different time period now. We got visas to get people across the border. If you don't have one, it's a lot tougher to get things nowadays. And getting that person, what are you going to pay them? Like it's just a lot of these teams are pretty close to the cap in their spending. So if they end up going over, there's a penalty. So is going into the penalty situation, having to pay more money at the end of the year, worth it on a backup quarterback who might play 3 weeks? Like, I know it's a case by case basis, but I can see why in this case Hamilton's going to be kicking a lot of the tires of recent quarterbacks who are floating around just out of sheer, we got to get someone in, get someone up to date, and get someone out there, or the season's going to be lost pretty quick.
Yeah. All right. So on that note, let's move on to the final game, the first game of the week, which for 3 quarters was a close game. But then the heavens opened, and then the Red Blacks were just washed away.
Yep. It was worst versus first, and it showed. Ottawa's defense, they had so many missed tackles. It looked like a junior high team trying to tackle an NFL team. It was a lot of turnover, or a lot of missed tackles for Ottawa's defense. And then the other side of the coin, Edmonton's defense, they had 4 turnovers. So, turnovers, that can make the difference. Defense wins championships. I always believe that. So, and I think this game was a good example. When you're sound on defense, as Edmonton was, much like Saskatchewan was as well, it's hard for the other offense to get rolling.
Yeah. And Dave, your thoughts on this game? Because there's really, there's a lot we could talk about, but it was a close game, like I said, but Mike, you kind of encapsulated it all. But Dave, your thoughts?
It's gonna be a long 3 months for Ottawa. I'm just being honest. I don't.
No, you're right though. I'm just thinking about our buddy Howie Mooney, who's a huge Ottawa fan. Wrote a history book. Has written several books, including 2 history books about the team. And Howie, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He might be praying for a 1981 miracle.
Yeah, true. It could happen. Miracles do happen. So and he laid the case for it.
But I'll say this. Jake Marissine's pretty frustrated right now. But on the flip side, McLeod Bethel Thompson, 3 or 4 for 30 yards. Didn't look too bad out there. Looked actually pretty comfortable for someone who, I'm not sure the last time he got under center. Like the last time he's played, got a hit, was out there on the field. He looked pretty comfortable. He didn't look out of place for someone 3 days earlier was doing whatever he was doing. I'm pretty sure he wasn't hanging around in Ottawa. So
right. Yeah. So, all right. So let's talk about the week ahead coming up here. We don't have a Thursday game, so we've got a Friday night game, and we've got 2 Saturday games, and then we've got a Sunday night game. Don't know why we don't have a Thursday night game. I don't know. Is it a World Cup thing? Maybe, possibly. I don't know.
They're in the semifinals, so that might be the case.
Go England. Go England. So, I don't know why the schedule is the way it is, but that's what we got. And let me go through here. I got the 8 teams up. I'm trying to figure out off the top of my head who's got a bye. It looks like the Riders. Yeah, the Rough Riders. They've got the bye. So we got BC at Edmonton, which, I think might be a good game. BC beat Edmonton the last time they played. So, and then we got Montreal and Calgary at Calgary, Toronto and Hamilton, and then Winnipeg and Ottawa. I'm going to do first with the kind of just off the cuff pick'ems. I'm thinking Edmonton's going to, I hate saying this because I'm a BC fan, but I think Edmonton's going to beat BC. I think Calgary is going to come back and beat Montreal. Toronto's going to beat Hamilton, and Winnipeg's going to beat Ottawa. Would you guys agree or disagree? Yeah.
I think the first game with Edmonton and BC, that was tough, just because of the conditions were so sloppy.
Right.
But I think this time around, Edmonton wins. That was the only game that I wasn't sure about at first, but the more I thought about it, I think it also has potential to be game of the week. But Greg, I'm right along with you for those picks.
Okay. And Dave?
I agree.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just looking at it, I'm thinking, man, it's kind of, Calgary's better than what their record indicates right now. And I even think BC might be better than their record indicates right now, but they're only 1-2. Oh, no. Yeah, 1-3. I'm sorry. They're 1-3. They're still kind of a work in progress. And obviously, Ottawa, we know they're not tanking. We know that much. They're just bad. I don't know if real bad would be, but when you're 0-5 right now, you're approaching the real bad point.
But as Mike mentioned repeatedly, I mean, it was spot on. The teams that can run the ball had the best record. It just clearly shows. And in teams that can't find the running game, they're struggling. And so it'll be really interesting to see how BC can handle Edmonton's running game, because it's not just a ranking. So, so it'll be they 200 yards this past week on the ground. So if they get going again on BC, I mean, once again, you just got to keep these players healthy. But Edmonton looks good. I can't. They look like nothing against the Rough Riders as defending champs, but Edmonton is a multifaceted team, and they are clicking. They at least this past week they clicked. Obviously, it's
a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, 18-game season. A lot happens from now in late October. So
yeah. All right. Okay. So on that note, we'll wrap things up. But real quickly, want to switch gears here for a second and I mentioned to you guys before we went on air about the documentary I watched yesterday about the Macho Man, Randy Savage, because I'm in the middle of reading the book. Man, I miss 80s wrestling. It was the best back then. And I think part of that just in my mind goes, well, I was a young stupid kid between high school and college. And, when I wasn't working at my $3 an hour job at Kmart, I was over at my buddies who had satellite. Back in the days when you had the big giant satellites in the backyard and they weren't encrypted or anything. So, you could get everything. The dude had it all. His parents had a lot of money. So, yeah. So those are my memories of 80s wrestling, watching it on the big satellite and remembering the first time the lovely Miss Elizabeth became when Randy Savage joined at the time the WWF and picked her as his manager. Of course, it was his wife, but it was just a good documentary, and I'm in the middle of reading the book. So, you guys' thoughts on all that?
Greg, let me ask you a question. Does your local 7-Eleven have Slim Jims?
That's a good question.
Right. Snap into a Slim Jim at Macho Man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the thing, coming away without giving too much away, that the Macho Man was a great method actor, because the day he changed his voice in front of his brother, it never went back. He always stayed in character, which to me is just amazing. Because when you look at Hulk Hogan and you hear Hulk Hogan, it's not the Hulkster talking, it's Terry. But yeah, I don't know. It was took a little break from watching football and went back to 80s wrestling. It was nice. So
I'll give you a fun tidbit. Macho Man Randy Savage and the only two-time Heisman Trophy winner from Ohio State, Archie Griffin, they both attended high school at the same high school.
Wait, they went to Downers Grove?
So Macho Man, he started Columbus, Ohio at Eastmore, then he moved.
Yeah, I went back to Downers Grove.
Yeah. And then Archie, he played at Eastmore before going to Ohio State. So they were, at one point, they were classmates.
Really? Wow, I did not know that. Yeah, because his parents were from Chicago. And, I mean, I think I've driven by his old family home, out there in Downers Grove, at least on a few times. And again, looking back, I'm like, oh, okay. And it all makes sense, because I think I saw something in the news. They were trying to get a statue or something built for him or in Downers Grove. I don't know. But, it's just, I like 80s wrestling. I don't know if I'd like it as much, wrestling as much now, but, the stuff they were able to do in the 80s, they couldn't do now.
Steroids.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's the 90s. I grew up, I was 10, 11, 12 years old in that era. So, your Stone Cold Rock era, that was it for me, man.
But
the Attitude Era, right?
The Attitude Era.
Yeah. But Macho Man was in that era too, man. 98 SummerSlam, which is probably one of his most infamous, probably one of the more famous wrestling matches he was ever in. So, all right. Well, listen. Hey, on that note, we will say goodbye, and maybe next week I'll have the biography completely read, and might talk more wrestling. Who knows? But we are approaching NFL training camps too, and training camps open next week.
Yeah, I think the first one is on the 19th or 20th, so it'll be here soon.
It's coming up quick. So yeah, probably how we're going to do the show as we approach into NFL season. Obviously, we're going to focus on the games for the CFL, but I think how we might deal with the NFL is just kind of talk about in general what happened during the week, some of the bigger items, because we're not going to give the scores of the NFL games. That's one thing we're not going to do because everybody's got a phone and they know what the scores were. So just, and the NFL is basically it's a soap opera during the season. So we'll talk about all the soap opera stuff versus the actual scores. And but then, our bread and butter here is always Canadian football. And we'll be talking about the individual games during the NFL season. So any final thoughts before we sign off?
Looking forward to next week's games.
Yeah,
all right.
A fun week.
Yep. And for those of you who are tuning in, either online, live, or on the podcast, we are at gridironamerica.net. And if you want to see the show itself on YouTube, just go to gridironamerica.com and you could find us there. So on that note, on behalf of Mike and Dave and myself, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And we will be talking to you very, very soon.